The information shared on this program is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice, nor as a recommendation of any specific investment product or financial instrument. Always consult your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant regarding your own situation. All client reviews or spotlight segments are unpaid testimonials from current clients of Tony Walker Financial. Individual experiences will vary, are not representative of all clients, and are not a guarantee of future results or success.
Want to know how much money you really have and what that money is really worth? Well, I've got news for you. None of this is real.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. The Worry-Free Retirement with your host, six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
In working in the financial trenches these past 42 years and in offering just about every financial product a financial advisor might decide to shake a stick at, one thing this little man in a sweater vest has learned about the value of money and possessions in retirement is this. No matter what someone says something is worth or what value it might have today or in the future, here's the sad truth about the amount of money you and I have worked so hard to save. A dollar is not real until it is converted to cash and used. In other words, none of this is real. Don't believe me? Well, stay tuned as we will review some of these very popular retirement planning concepts and why they may not be real at all. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And today you are in for a very unique take on money and what you think the money you have is really worth, as I will dive into a true understanding of knowing whether the many financial products and concepts pitched by us in the financial world, if they're real or just on paper. These popular financial ideas are ones that most savers either never think of or are simply too gullible to understand that they're too good to be true sales pitches are oftentimes, that's right, simply too good to be true. In other words, it's not real. You see, friend, the dirty little financial secret that we in the financial world would rather not talk about is how bad we need your money to stay in business. It's called other people's money, or OPM. For the financial world to live on OPM, they must have your money to pull it off, and oftentimes at your expense. The result? Much of what you think you see is not real at all. And while we might argue that we in the financial world have the best intentions in handling OPM, in the end, many financial advisors and the institutions they place their money with have one thing in common. The game consists of you not taking your money back from them. Because if you do, we stop making money on your money. It's that simple. And while I could cover dozens of financial products and concepts touted by the financial world as the greatest thing since sliced bread, in today's episode of None of This is Real, I've decided to share a couple of these with you. First, the much advertised and enticing free bonus annuities. And second, the magic of compound interest, particularly paid on today's high CD rates. So if you're retired or thinking of retiring in the near future and you are wondering why you are still worried as to what this money is real and what is not, well, stay tuned as we cover our show today called None of This is Real. I'm Tony Walker. This is the Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back. Wondering how much money you'll need for retirement? Well, that's where we can help at Tony Walker Financial. As retirement planning experts, we're a one-stop shop for savers who are looking to retire worry-free. So if you don't have a proprietary game plan in your possession, if you're not sure who to trust with your money, consult us at Tony Walker Financial and set up that free phone call with me, Tony Walker, by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call us anytime at 877-499-9255.
Looking for retirement guidance from a local team you can trust? Subscribe to the Tony Walker Financial YouTube channel for fresh weekly videos focused on the topics that matter most to savers and retirees. Once subscribed, click the bell so you're notified whenever new videos are uploaded. Then head to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to submit your own questions to Tony or schedule your free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with Tony himself. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, your local trusted resource for retirement planning.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. And in the Worry-Free Retirement Studios is my favorite nephew, Mr. Wes Walker. Good morning, Wes.
Good morning, Tony. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Well, Wes, it's been a while since I've sat down with you. We got a lot to cover today. And since you're in charge of our overall investment platform here at Tony Walker Financial, I know you got your CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst designation. I always want to call it a degree. It's really not what do you call it?
Who knows? Yeah, it's probably more of an accreditation, a designation.
Okay. I like that.
There's similar ones, the CFP for financial planning, CPA for tax preparation. This one focuses almost entirely on investments, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, that sort of thing.
And it's a wonderful achievement, quite frankly. I know it's very difficult to get that.
He's a good kid.
But with that said, there was a conference, was it called? Kind of a CFA conference down in Florida that you recently attended. Do you remember the title of it?
It was called EDGE. It's a wealth management conference. A lot of what it is they're sort of introducing new technologies to advisors. So different advisory offices will come down to sort of check out the new technology that's available, interact with each other, and just learn more about the industry. So not necessarily sponsored by the CFA, but it was a technology conference in Florida that I attended.
And that's one reason I was excited. You just returned from that, and I was excited to get your take on things. First of all, we're an independent firm. I know we're not humongous. I know there's some financial advisory firms out there that would dwarf us in size, but, sole-owned, independent, besides myself, 20 employees. As far as the technology we're trying to implement, how do you think we stack up?
My takeaway was that we're already ahead of the game, so to speak. We've implemented Salesforce recently. They're a pioneering CRM system that is kind of the gold standard as far as technology goes from a starting place. And what we've learned more about is our trading capabilities, our rebalancing. While we're already very ahead of the game, there's things that we're going to implement in the future, and even people we're looking to bring on to keep our trading abilities the top as they can, the best possible.
Yeah, and I think that's something unusual about us. And my passion for service. And I know a lot of people maybe listening to this right now may not understand trading, but bottom line is, through our Charles Schwab accounts, when someone calls in and needs money or we're rebalancing a portfolio, what does it mean when we say we do all of that trading in-house? And why is that such an advantage to our clients that we do that?
I think that's an important distinction to make here. When I say trading, I don't mean that we're picking out a certain stock one morning and then selling it the next day because we have some inference about the performance of that holding. What we mean when we say trading is that we're facilitating all these needs that our clients have. So a big, use case that comes up a lot, let's say somebody wants to give some money to children or they want to purchase a vehicle. They have their assets, their retirement assets with us, and we need to get them that money. When we do that, we have to trade from their accounts, and we have to do so while keeping the account in balance, just meaning that it has the same proportion of stocks and bonds that it had prior, and that their risk level in the account doesn't change after we make the distribution. So we can use technology, we use people, and we facilitate hundreds of these transactions every month. We've gotten to where we are very good at it and very responsive at being able to meet the client's needs.
Yeah, I know currently Shannon Ross does the bulk of the trading, and she does a wonderful job, but that's all she really does, right? I mean, that's how important this is. We've got one person dedicated to this. I know you're kind of her backup, and we're possibly going to hire some help for her, but again, just a dedicated staff member, and that's all she does is pretty cool.
Well, that's what I'd say, too. This is the intersection of technology and people. So, to totally rely on some sort of algorithm or technology entirely to do the trading, that may not be the best idea. If you're going at it alone or working with an advisor, I'd want to know what their back office capabilities are, because to have a human in the loop who's monitoring all these things to make sure that everything's in the right order when trades are getting placed, especially a professional like Shannon Ross, it's an amazing thing to have.
Here are a few more Tony Walker Financial 5-star reviews. This one from Greg Johnson. We have had nothing but great success with Tony Walker Financial, and the staff is great to work with. And Pam Perkins says, we have enjoyed our relationship with Tony Walker and his group. He can be trusted to take care of your future. To read these and other 5-star reviews, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
So I was perusing the internet the other day looking for some interesting financial articles
And I stumbled across one that really got my attention. Apparently a 79 and 80-year-old couple sadly got scammed. And boy, was this interesting. Apparently, according to the article, and it led to apparently her suicide and his murder. It's a crazy case. It's being investigated right now. But basically what happened was someone through AI technology, that's artificial intelligence technology, and I'm going somewhere with this, folks. There's a warning shot getting ready to be thrown over the bow here to you. But basically someone was able to convince these people that they were Tom Selleck, the actor Tom Selleck, and convince them to move a lot of money back over out of their accounts to whatever this guy was proposing, the scam. And the bottom line is he milked them for most of their money and I think got the house from them. They talked them into selling the house. And this is going on more and more with technology like AI, with the ability for people to make themselves known as if they are somebody else or a friend or family member or advisor. Folks, you just have to be so careful. So here's what I tell people to do. First of all, some basic rules of thumb. If you are solicited by someone, anyone, about investing money, moving money, assisting them, helping them, and you do not confirm their identity, even if it sounds like, Tom Selleck or whatever, even if it sounds like a family member or a good friend, you should not ever respond to any request for money, whether it's an email, a text. They ask you to go to another type of app, to correspond with them. So apparently the experts that study these scammers, they're very good at getting you to disclose information, to give them social security numbers. You just can't do that, folks, especially through text, even through phone calls now with the ability for people to sound like other people. So here's my suggestion. Even if it's somebody saying they are Tony Walker Financial, if they're requesting information like social security numbers, account numbers, bank routing numbers, never, ever give that to anybody over the phone. Never text anything. Never click on any links. Don't do anything like that. Wherever they're calling from, make sure they're legit. So if it's somebody calling from Tony Walker Financial and they say they need your social security number, if it doesn't sound quite right, if you're thinking they should have that, in that case, you would hang up the phone or you would not respond to the email or text, and you would literally call Tony Walker Financial's number, inquire as to who's asking for the information, make sure it's legit. Now, at Tony Walker Financial, we dot our I's and cross our T's. If that were to happen, if you called into our office, we can look in the database immediately to see if anybody here has requested that information or if possibly in that example, you're getting ready to get scammed. I was talking to somebody the other day and they mentioned that they were going to have some furniture made. They found out who the furniture maker was off of Facebook. It sounded legit. They talked to him over the phone. The person on Facebook asked them to wire a down payment and they said, nope, we're not doing that. We will come and visit you at your office and where you manufacture this. And they said, fine, come on by. Well, that's pretty legit. So again, I would just be very careful, folks. If you get unsolicited text, emails, don't click on stuff, don't respond. If the phone call you get sounds fishy, even if it sounds legit, but again, they're asking for information, again, such as social security numbers, account numbers, routing numbers, it is always best if you're not 100% sure to contact the institutions directly to confirm that they are requesting that information. I hope that helps. It just concerns me that these people have gotten really good at scamming people. So just be on guard. Whoever you're working with, what financial advisor, bank, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you're contacting people directly at those institutions before you quickly respond to requests for information. I hope that helps. And be safe out there, not only with yourself, but obviously with your money.
Are you retired, retiring soon, or possibly faced with your company closing its doors forever? If so, take advantage of this opportunity to roll your 401k into something we call mailbox money.
Mailbox money!
For years, clients of Tony Walker Financial have enjoyed mailbox money, and now you can too by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255. Let us help you today.
Mailbox Money is a reference to guaranteed lifetime annuity payments backed solely by the issuing insurer's claims-paying ability.
Well, we're back on the road again with one of our clients here at Tony Walker Financial, and we have on the phone Wendell Hawkins. In fact, his wife Kathy may be in the background there. So good afternoon, Mr. Hawkins.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us. And first of all, Mr. Hawkins, just tell us a little bit about what you do for a living, if you've retired or thinking about retiring, just a little bit about what's going on in your life right now.
Well, I worked with KU at the power plant for 42 years, and I'm retired to be a farmer. I own a farm and a few cattle to watch and relax watching them. And just me and Kathy built another house, a barnuminium that we could retire in. So just having a good time.
When exactly did you retire, Mr. Hawkins?
I retired in July of 23.
Okay, so how would you describe retirement to somebody, especially if they've been working like you did, slaving away for 40 plus years, and the idea of retiring and maybe just nervous about not sure what to do or getting bored? What would be your advice to someone thinking about retiring?
I have a farm that I can actually spend my energy on, but you got to do stuff. You got to mix it up and do different things, or you can. Retirement can be, hazardous to your body and soul because you just sit around. I try not to sit around.
Well, and do you remember when you first heard about us at Tony Walker Financial, or what prompted you to call us back in the day?
Well, me and Kathy watched you every Sunday, and Kathy really felt confident with the way you all, presented yourself, the Christian-based knowledge, and how you apply it financially, is what we liked about hearing that every Sunday morning. We only got bits and pieces because we had to go to church, But she just loved the concept that y'all have.
And so finally, what would you say to people about our staff and just the organization in general now that you've been with us a few years, and how well we respond to your and Kathy's needs?
The whole key thing, I went to one of the bigger financial groups. We didn't feel comfortable. We didn't feel comfortable at all. And actually, I left. I went up to listen to them, and I didn't like it. They had a one-trick pony that they wanted to throw me into, and I really felt uncomfortable. So I immediately left their office, and without appointment, Wes seen me, took care of me. So me and Kathy set up an appointment with you.
Yeah. Well, we're sure glad you did. I know you've referred a lot of folks to us, too. So we really appreciate your trust and confidence in doing business with us.
Yes, and Kathy couldn't be no more happier anywhere else, because I know if something happens to me that you all are going to take care of her. Everything financially she needs to take care of, she's going to be backed up by you all.
Well, you can count on that.
Thank you, Tony. You have a very good staff.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Well, you all have a good one.
In studying under some of the greatest financial minds in the country, and after spending years in deep study and having successfully completed program curriculums in both the CLU and CFP educational programs, here's what I've learned these past 42 years in the business. And what is money worth and what it's not worth? Well, I've learned this. None of this is real. So let's kick it off with a Tony in the Trenches from Rick out of Shelbyville, Kentucky, who asked the following. Tony, I recently attended a dinner seminar, and the advisor suggested we invest in what's called a bonus annuity, which offered free money of 20% right up front. Is this too good to be true, and how can an annuity pay such a high upfront bonus? Well, first, in my years of doing business with insurance companies, I have yet to meet or work with any insurance company who is willing to give away free money. There is no such thing. In fact, while we do offer bonus annuities, we're going to find out more about this in a minute. In fact, we even have one annuity company offering a 45% bonus. We don't always use them or tout them based on the plan. Why? Because, as we have stated, none of this is real, including these free bonuses. All right, the number 2, that's right, the magic of compound interest. And now what I'm getting ready to show you is compound interest in what we call an after-tax account. So let's take a look at this and see what really is real here. Now, on the surface, we've got somebody that, let's say, you can't get a CD for 20 years, but we're just imagining we could. Let's say we could get 5%. They put $500,000 in this CD or taxable account. At the end of 20 years, on paper, they have over $1.3 million. But is that a real number? In the CD at the bank it is, but what were the costs to get there? Let's take a look at this. This is kind of interesting. So when you have compound interest in a taxable environment, you actually compound the taxes. If you'll notice, depending on a tax bracket, you might owe $7,500 in taxes, but if you leave the money at the CD at the bank, it still has $525. So you got to come out of pocket to pay the tax. Many of you are doing this and you don't realize what's going on. You leave the money at the bank, it charges the interest, you get a 1099, you have to pay the tax. But notice what happens as this account grows. So too, over the next 5 years, do the taxes each year. Let's go out to the 6th through the 10th year. Look at these annual taxes. Again, the account's growing. That's a real number at the bank, but it's not the real amount of money in your pocket. I mean, these are getting to be some big numbers that you're having to come up with out of pocket. Again, the CD's still growing at the bank. They're still using all your money. They don't care. But what is the real cost to you? You have to remember there's an opportunity cost because you had to come up with the money to pay the tax, which you lost interest on that. And what's that total number? This transaction, to have this much money, cost you $247,000 in taxes and lost opportunity cost. So let's get a drum roll, please. So the final amount in your pocket, after you subtract the taxes and LOC, the real amount is just over $1 million. Well, when we return, talking about none of this is real, we're going to hear from King Solomon and what he learned at the end of his life about money, possessions, and even wisdom. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. So you've worked 30 or 40 years slaving away at work so you can save away money into your 401k, and now you arrive at the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make, where to invest your 401k plan. Think about it. For all these years, you've had a steady paycheck, compliments from your employer for all of your hard work that you dedicated to them. But now, all of a sudden, you've got to figure out how to replace that paycheck with the money you've been saving. No wonder you're worried about what to do and who to trust with that money, which is why we at Tony Walker Financial are providing a brand new free service called the 10-Minute Fiduciary Phone Call. And here's how simple it is to learn more about our services and our 401k rollover process. First, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Once there, click on the Let's Get Started button. You'll be taken to a page. Confidentially, you can fill out your information on the screen and then click below the best way for us to speak together. It could either be myself or one of our other trained fiduciaries. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Before you make a rash decision and blindly turn your money over to a complete stranger to invest, consider a name and a firm you can trust, Tony Walker Financial. And, oh, by the way, if you like, you can give us a call to speak to us at any time by phone by simply calling 877-499-9255. So we're in the Bowling Green office and talking to new advisor TJ Reagan. Actually, TJ, how long have you been with Tony Walker Financial?
A little over 4 years, Tony.
So you're tax certified, but you recently got registered to give advice. So you've been behind the scenes all these years, but now you're starting to sit in on meetings, learn how to do client reviews. What is your perception as an advisor as you watch me and Heather go through a lot of the current clients' plans and how diligent we are in staying on top of those plans?
One thing that I've really noticed is our thoroughness when going over accounts with clients and being able to answer their questions really in great detail to make them feel more comfortable with everything that we're doing for them. That's been overwhelmingly something that's definitely stood out.
And TJ, we're looking forward to you to meet more and more clients, so happy to have you on board as an advisor.
Thanks, Tony.
Worried about running out of money in retirement? Well, stop worrying and learn how mailbox money can keep that from happening. Set up your free phone call with me, Tony Walker, by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Are you retired or nearing retirement and have a question for Tony? Just text the word RETIRE to 502-429-3416. That's 502-429-3416 and text the word RETIRE.
Of all the wonderful books in the Bible one might care to read, when it comes to money, life, and what amount of money this is real, my go-to book is the book of Ecclesiastes, a book that led me to write this game-changing book for savers called Live Well, Die Broke. The book of Ecclesiastes and all the wisdom shared by the richest man in the world who wrote it, King Solomon, reveals something I've noticed over the years as well in watching the lives of thousands of savers play out in retirement, and it's this. No matter how much money you and I might accumulate over our lifetimes, in the end, we really can't take this stuff with us, which in the end means none of this is real. You see, Solomon begins to lament about this worldly and vain pursuit, where in chapter 1, verse 9, he reminds us that while we might think there are new ways of doing things, as he puts it, no, there's not. There's really nothing new under the sun. His first stab at setting up the argument that none of this is real comes this way. Before he gets to our money and how none of this is real, Solomon first turns to another desire, to have more of the world's wisdom. And what does Solomon discover as he goes down this rabbit hole? Well, in verse 18, that having more of the world's wisdom only produces more sorrow. Chalk it up to Solomon's persistence to find meaning in life. Well, realizing the world's wisdom doesn't bring peace and joy, he then turns to the next best thing, the world's stuff, only to discover that after becoming the richest man in the world, we see in chapter 2, verse 11, in the words of Solomon anyway, all this money is all in vain. In other words, according to Tony, yep, none of this is real. And here's the sad part of this discovery that wisdom and wealth bring no joy or lasting peace. Well, then it's found in verse 17, where his vain pursuits of wisdom and wealth actually create in his heart, dig this, a hatred of life here on earth. Strange reaction, don't you think? Having a hatred of the very thing that the world offers up to accomplish what the world says that we need, which is more wisdom and more money. So how do we bring back the joy that God so wishes us to have with the things he provides us here on earth? Well, check it out in chapter 2, verse 24, where Solomon concludes things this way. Nothing is better for a man than to eat and drink and enjoy his work. I have also seen that this is from the hand of God. Verse 25 says, for apart from him, who can eat and who can find enjoyment? And therein lies the key. You want to truly enjoy life, and yes, even the money you have been blessed with, then find enjoyment in God. And thank God constantly for allowing you and I to enjoy what he has so graciously allowed us to have. This is true wisdom and true wealth. And that's the main theme running through my book, Live Well, Die Broke. To enjoy the money you have before it's too late, period. So if that's how you're feeling right now, maybe for the first time you realize that the money you've saved for retirement is not being used to the best of your ability, and that you have no plans in place by an experienced retirement planning firm who can show you how to use and enjoy this money without the fear of one day running out, then we need to talk. And man, have we made this really easy to do. We call this the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And this is an opportunity for you and I to speak briefly by phone to see how we might be of help to you. That's right, you'll be talking to the owner of the company, someone who has more than 40 years of experience in the field of finance, who has met in person with more than 20,000 savers, and who has orchestrated more than 5,000 written game plans. So what we'll do during this conversation is talk briefly about your situation, and if I think we can help, we actually will then meet in person for you and I to meet, lay out that game plan, and to show you exactly how we at Tony Walker Financial are so different from the rest of the financial world. To take advantage of this free phone call, all you do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to click on that Talk to Tony button, and we will arrange the phone call. Hey, by the way, internet not your thing? You can call us 24/7 to arrange this phone call. That number is 877-499-9255. Well, we've enjoyed being with you this week. You remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free and you make it a good one.